So, I don't know. I feel like reading. I mentioned that I like to go through my old books, journals, and kind of just like see what I was doing last year on this day. And I was just looking through last year's because it's almost done. This is book number 3. Reconfiguration, I called it. And it actually ended. Like, what's really fucking cool about when I write these is that they always seem to end on a very peculiar note. So what I do is I name them first. So I just start writing them. And what's weird is that the overall theme of what I write is, for the most part, pretty relevant to the title that I give the book. You have to see it from my perspective. You're gonna take it out my word. But today was the 16th. I was just kind of like scrolling through this thing, looking to see what I was doing last year, which is Thursday. And I couldn't help but recognize just a lot of similarities from last year to this year on this specific day. And I just felt kind of inspired to talk about some of them because this was actually like a really awesome time in my life. This book was written in between July 24th and August 18th. First half of August 18th. I didn't have any friends to play with last year on my birthday, and so I just kind of went out and did my own thing, had a lot of fun. And this particular volume ends right as I was about to go out, and the next one picks up as soon as I got home. You may not find that as cool as I do, but I just find the relevance of the stories of my life and how these books kind of end, right? Always at a cliffhanger of every time, and then they'll pick up and then they'll carry on. And it's funny because most of this stuff is all in my head, most of these experiences, but they're all based on what I'm going through in my life, and it's just really fascinating to watch. Not watch, but fascinating to not just write, but to live it. Because I look back on these things and see where I've been and the people I've interacted with, because man, I got enough shit here to have a fucking movie. Like, a lot of movies. Like, each one of these books, they're about a month long. You usually get about 4 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer, depending on, sometimes a little bit shorter too. I think the shortest I've killed one of these is like 2 weeks. I think it was about that. But I do a lot of shit. I mean, literally, I write almost every day. Almost every day. There might be like a day or two here that I skip, or there was a time, especially this past January, where I stopped writing, handwriting, because all these are handwritten, and I had an older laptop that I was using that I was typing everything. Because it got to the point that the shit that I was writing was just to get stuff out of my mind. It was dealing with a lot of the people that I was interacting with at the time. There was quite a few people. Again, I mean, for spending most of my time in this room, I do a lot of stuff outside. I meet a lot of people. I have a lot of fun, and I have a lot of not fun too. I mean, like everything. I have my ups and downs. I mean, not every day is fucking sunshine and rainbows. Like right now, after that last video, like my fucking head is fucking killing me in here. But whatever. So I was sitting here, and I was bored. And every time I'm bored, anytime I feel bored, I realize that's not boredom. It's because there's something I'm not looking at, something I'm not paying attention to in my life that needs to be, I mean, not like serious, but I like to take that time to reflect. And what I do is, anytime I get bored, it's almost a habit now. As soon as I feel bored, and my head goes, I'm bored, but everything happens for a reason, and I'm bored right now for a reason. What reason could I possibly be bored? And maybe I need to reflect. All right. Well, what the fuck was what was I doing last year at this exact moment? So what time is it? 7:20. Oh man, you want to get into some fun? We'll have some fun. I'll read this. I don't like reading this shit, but you know what? Fuck it. Back then, I was a little bit weirder. It wasn't weird. What happened was, you have to understand that when I first started this path, I think I got into it a little bit, and I was dealing with the occult, and I was learning about the cards and learning about mysticism, and what I was writing mirrored my mind, and my mind was mirroring what I was reading. I mean, not in such a way that I was. I didn't know how else to explain what I was experiencing except for through the words in which I was comfortable using. And I would only use those words in my head, and I would write just what was in my head. I didn't speak like this at all the time. But the first entry is at 2:35 p.m. There can be no more doubts. This week is just confirmation after confirmation of what's coming. All I can do now is wait patiently and go with the flow. What's coming can't be stopped now. It's just a matter of when. The powers of the cosmos are conspiring just for me. Well, if it's not just for me, I'm the only one that sees it. Soon they all will, and that will be a good day. So, I don't remember exactly what this was pertaining to. I think it might have had to do with a girl. Not just a girl, but just my life in general. I had been working with the cards. There was actually several girls that this could be pertaining to. I can see them on the other page. There's a lot of women coming in and out of my life last summer. A lot. Hot ones, too. A lot of fun ones. And what I was trying to accomplish was a tarot business that was out of my house. Originally, when all this started, when I quit my job, and what I wanted was to be self-sustainable. I wanted to be able to pay my bills. I wanted to work my hours, doing what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, with whom I wanted to do it with. And at this point, things were actually really working out. It was really fucking cool. Though my wife and I were not talking. We were actually, like, this was probably at our lowest point. Well, leading up to the lowest point. This was the 16th of August. Yeah, this is right. A couple weeks later, things just went fucking haywire. But I had asked her if she was ever coming back, and she said no. And a friend of hers and we got close, and we were talking one day, and I told her that I had been talking to other people, and she even said, she's like, well, how the fuck do you expect to see somebody when you still got all her shit here? Like, you need to move on. If you're gonna move on, you need to properly move on, and that means get her shit out if she's not coming back. So I had sent out the word. I said, listen, if you're not coming back, this stuff's gotta go. I need to move on, you need to move on, and one, I need the space. I need the space for a project that I'm working on. The project I was working on was, I had this weird feeling that somebody was going to move in. At this point, I was kind of confused as to who, but I had a feeling I was going to get a roommate, a female one. And what my plan was, I was gonna move into my son's room because I didn't have a girlfriend. I wasn't gonna start dating someone. I don't know. I would just see where things go. But I don't need a lot of space. I stay up most of the night, and my son's room was a lot smaller, and he wasn't staying with me anyway. He would just come by for a couple hours every now and then. He lived right down the street, and he spent most of his time hanging with his friends, playing video games, and that was okay with me. I figured, you know what, my life is getting very complex, and he doesn't understand everything that's happening, and plus with the split, it seemed like the best option for him. That's why I said to him, like, you can come anytime you want, just stay over anytime you want. Doesn't matter to me. I prefer to see you, but if you want to do your thing, do your thing. Good shit. It's alright. Ain't gonna beat you up. So really, and during this time too, like I'd spend a lot of nights like going for walks, and mostly at night, because I was trying to not 11 trying not to trying to disassociate with my neighbors and friends at the time, because I noticed that every time I was with them, it was always negativity and about my ex and my son, and it was all shit that, you know what, like, I've thought about this stuff. I've been there on my own. I don't need to just give you everything just so that you can feel better about your own life. No, that's not my problem. So I started taking walks at night. I was spending more and more of my time alone. I was smoking a lot of weed too, which really was helping me, believe it or not. Yeah, I talked a little crazy here and there, like fucking powers of the cosmos, which, no, I'm not even fucking talking that crazy. I mean, if you believe in karma and everything happens for a reason, and the universe and all this other shit, yeah, no, fuck. Hey, listen, this is fucking normal talk. I have, like I said, I will believe. I don't think I've said it before, actually. I say it other places. I'll believe anything that I can't disprove, but I only know what I've experienced, and not you or anybody else is ever going to dissuade me from what I've experienced. And luckily, I write everything down. Like my brother says, luckily you write everything down. So there's no doubt in my mind of any single one thing that I know. And what I know is that not only what was I going with the flow, but the motherfucking universe got my back like a motherfucker. You hear people say that shit all the time, and they're right. You just go with the flow, and things really do just work out for you. So when you push, it's when things get fucked up. I try not to do that anymore, because as we will, if we continue this little journey of ours looking through my past life, things do shatter. By the end of this month, things just fucking big time. But it get really cool. Between these next 2 weeks, 16th through Labor Day, actually, were incredibly just action packed. At this point in my life, I had a lot of friends I was hanging out with. I had a witch I was hanging out with. I had a tarot reader that we were working on a project together, a business project together, and I had met a friend. I made a new friend, which we'll get into in a little bit. All right, so 2:53 p.m. Hair's cut, but I need a shave. Most importantly, a shower. So my hair's cut. So I got my hair cut on the same day last year. Isn't that cool? Interesting. Why the hell didn't I get shaved though? That doesn't make any sense. Why would I leave this? I don't know. Whatever. Hopefully I showered. 4:10 p.m. Thank you for everything. I won't squander what I've been given. I will be on my best behavior at all times unless situations arise beyond my power. And even still, if I lose full control, I know it is but another learning experience. A lot of people in the spiritual community, and I tried a couple different experiments to see what really felt right with me. And some people say, always be thankful, always give gratitude for everything that you have, everything to the universe. Oh, thanks, universe, for fucking the stuff, all the stuff that happens. And it's a good habit to be into, to be thankful for the shit that you have, and to really appreciate it from time to time. And don't forget to. I know it's we get caught up in our regular shit and we forgot to say thank you for stuff, but it's a good habit to get into. I try to thank the powers of the cosmos every now and then for my life being the way that it is. So then I did a reading for myself right afterwards. I didn't time it. I usually do. What is this? I should soon get the call from my ex-wife's name. And when I do, I didn't even finish the sentence. I had to have been really high right here. And when I do, period. I don't know, I didn't finish the thought. But perhaps this isn't about her. I think this is for a very beautiful girl whose name is right there. I don't like giving people's names, so try not to. I need to handle her with kid gloves. I have a lot to throw on her, and it may be overwhelming at first, but I have trained for this my entire life. That's what I do, I fix shit. She will be an extra special case and get whatever she needs. So, a friend of mine, we had talked about working together to fix a problem of hers. And she had recognized that we were on the same page in terms of esotericism. She understood that I've never met anyone who understood it as well as she has, perfectly honest. But she understood the two aspects of the mind, that there was the ego mind, there's the logic mind, the masculine, and there's the feminine, then positive and negative, conscious, subconscious. And we had talked one night, and she had made mention that someone had told her that she was very left-brained, and that was something that we were working on. Well, that's something that I was hoping to work on with her, because that is a pain in the ass thing. But I got a theory that you can't really work on that with girls. I think they just naturally have that egoic mindset. And I say egoic mindset, I don't mean the ego as in what people normally categorize as the ego. What I mean as the ego as the dominant mind that we are more usually using. They're the one that's attached to the physical world, the one that has wants and needs and desires and wants to eat and gives a shit about all physical stuff. Oh, I need my stuff. I can't give this up. I can't. Rings, I need them. This person, I love this person. I can't let them go. It's the one that can't let go of shit. Which isn't easy. But again, I got a feeling that the female counterpart to the man, human, is different in that way. It's the thought. I've never met one like me, so that's why I say that. But then again, I've never met a man like me either, so. Oh, the second card. I focus on eloquence and grace. My words are my weapons and my tools. With my voice, I have the power to make or break everything that I have created. Boy, do I prove that. But I have learned enough now that I may be able to handle any and all situations. She will be the icing on the cake. She being one of several women going on in my life. I was, now granted, I had my ex, and at this point, like I said, we weren't doing very well, and I was under the impression, I don't know where I wrote it, but I even said because when we split, we said we were going to take a year off. I didn't know if that was actually going to make it a year, or ever even get fixed, or what have you. It never did. But I even said to myself, and wrote several times so I didn't forget, that if we were supposed to be together, we would be together. And if not, we wouldn't. We would see. And at this time, there was there's about 3 or 4 women that I was interacting with at the time that potentially seemed as though things could get more serious. I wouldn't complain. So she could have been a couple people. Well, was several people, including my ex. Um, Card number 3, Daydreams and Visions. And we got this card earlier for whoever I was reading for. I have a ton of mini plans to help lay the foundation for what I'm planning. Every person will play their role. Every role will have a purpose. Remember what I was saying earlier, that everybody has a purpose. If you want to believe that you don't have a purpose in your life, that everything happens for a reason, that you're not the reason that everything happens for a reason, go for it. That's your prerogative. Prerogative. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just like to point out that I know that you have a purpose and a reason. You don't have to believe that. But I thought it was funny because I did write that everyone has a role and has a purpose. There will be those who come and there will be those who go. There will be some who are lost. But in the end, we will create a vision for a new world order with love and light. It will be glorious. So, at this time, I used to get really cool visions. And I say visions, but ideas. And one of them was this concept of a world. One of them was a concept of one of my dreams is to build a school of some sort, where the esoteric sciences, astrology, tarot, mysticism, are taught in such a way, not in the jokey way that people perceive them now, not, oh, you're doing your horoscopes and tarot and fortune tellers now, in the way that I know them. I do tarot cards to help people psychologically, to help people overcome fears and doubts. Astrology is used for the same thing. Astrology can be used for psychology. If you're familiar with Carl Jung at all, then you know that he was very much into esotericism, very much into alchemy, very much into tarot cards and astrology. And that's kind of where I really envisioned my future, is to do something like that, something to aid in humanity's upbringing. Not doing a shitty job being a fry chef. I want to have something that deals with teaching and helping people. Because you can see just from talking to me, I'm not like normal people where I have multiple perspectives on things, and it carries over into my real life too. When people talk to me, I'm usually pretty cool at keeping my cool, regardless of how people try to push you, and people are always constantly trying to push. Well, it's just human nature. It's an egoic thing. When you interact with somebody, you'll always notice there's going to be a tit for tat. That no matter what you say, they're always going to try to updo you, and then you're always going to try to updo them, and sometimes that turns into a little bit of an argument. What I have done is, how I was mentioning that mental training that I like to do, that I like to put myself in situations and find different perspectives and angles to see things, is that it allows me to bypass that egoic reaction to people. People say we react, we don't respond, and that's absolutely correct. I've trained myself in such a way that I can shut the fuck up and let people talk. And people get fucked up with that. People aren't used to that. It's actually pretty interesting to not say anything and just be the observer and not the observed for once. To listen and not be heard. You can learn a lot. You can learn a lot about a person. I'm a human lie detector. I am fucking amazing at it. I can tell when you're bullshitting. I know when you're not telling me the exact truth. I know when you're kind of a little bit not even sure about yourself, about what you're saying. It's very simple. People give off cues all the time. I don't need to look at your eyes or anything like that. Just your voice will tell me. But no, I can look at your eyes too, because you start to jet around because you're not comfortable looking. Which is hard to do. It's not easy to lock eyes and not let go. Because sometimes it seems creepy for me sometimes when I do it, and I feel like I'm just like freaking people out. But and I try to always maintain direct eye contact, because one, it's the way that we should be communicating in the first place. Really, it helps to secure a connection with the person that you're trying to converse with. But but the thing is, like I said, I've never met anybody like me. So that's why this vision, this new world order that I'm talking about so much is, my idea is very simple. You have a school, you have a place that teaches people, I say school, but I don't know, fuck it. Think of it like fucking X-Men Mansion, like that. But eventually you grow out, you expand. Yeah, you got one today, you got one here, and then eventually it becomes popular, and other people want one, and then you start up another one over here, and eventually the concepts and ideas spread, they grow, they evolve, because these ideas, they aren't static. The way I learned isn't the way that I teach. I utilize a multitude of different angles, but that's the beauty of all of this mental conscious expansion, we'll call it conscious expansion, is that it's customizable to however it fits for you. And clearly, since I'm the smartest and most talented and most handsome out of everybody, it would only be obvious that I would be the one in charge. And eventually, once everybody is on the same page as me in some way, shape, or form, of course I would be the leader. Come on, man. Fucking stupid. You can't trust somebody else to do the job. You can't trust someone to do your job. That's something I've learned a long time ago. And that's why I can't work for other people, because I can't even be the manager, because I have to be the one to do the stuff. And I've learned time and time again that you cannot trust anyone to do what you task them to do, how you task them to do it. You have to be the one to do it. You have to be the guy all the time. And if you're not the guy, then someone else is going to be the guy and fuck it up. Look at the world right now. Love and light. Those are just one aspect. It should be darkness and hate and light and love. It will be glorious. It will be glorious. Hopefully. I mean, there's nothing really that's holding me back or stopping me. I mean, yeah, I'm going to need money at some point, but today I don't have the funds in which to, or the fucking people, or help to achieve any of these things. But I'm doing a fucking kick-ass job on my own, I can tell you that right now. Fucking miles ahead of where I was at this point last year. Alright, card number 4. Everyone has a purpose. I won't let any just go. We all have a role to play. Even my ex's name. I just haven't figured her part out. She isn't getting the same respect until I know that she is good. Yeah, we had some issues about some stuff and had some concerns. Doesn't matter. Still a good person. Love her very much. As a human being. And for her role. Do I talk about her a lot? I feel like I do. Well, I mean, she's on my mind a lot. I can't help it. It's a very tender time of year. Today's my niece's birthday. My niece, her sister's daughter. I don't know if I'm allowed to say niece anymore. Technically, I don't know. I don't see why not. It's my niece. I mean, my son is her cousin, so that would mean that technically they're related, which would make us, in a sense, related. So yeah, I don't want to change anything. Good. Card number 5, Ungani 10. This was the last card that I pulled out before we stopped that last reading. Actually, most of these cards came on that reading. I have a ton of new people come into my life over the past couple weeks. I have had a ton of new people come into my life over the past couple weeks. All of them special in their own way. I have big plans for TK. Love that kid. I see a lot of me in him. TK, I fucking love this guy. I miss this kid so much. He was, at the time, like I said, my son wasn't really coming over anymore. It was kind of rough. But this one night in particular, maybe a week or so prior, I forget, I ran out of pot. I didn't know what to fucking do. I was pissed. So I went for a walk. I went for several walks to get that out. When you go from smoking pot every single day, when you run out, you're like, fuck me, fuck, fuck. And it wasn't I didn't have any money because I actually had money back here, a lot of money back here back then too. Not a lot, but I didn't have to sustain myself. Fucking nobody had pot. It's fucking nowhere. It's driving me nuts. Everybody I knew, they weren't getting back to me. But this one night in particular, I remember I was out. So pissed. So I went for a walk. You want us to talk about how everything happens for a reason? This was so fucking cool. So I went for my walk. I think I did like 4 or 5 laps around my neighborhood. Went home, I fucked around. I think I was juicing back then too. Juicing, like fruits and vegetables. I was doing an 80-20 diet of vegan. 80-20 vegan diet. So it was mostly fruits and vegetables, that type of shit. Nuts and dates. Oh my god, it was such a fucking healthy lifestyle I was living. And 20% of my intake of food was just whatever the fuck I wanted. Anything. McDonald's, Taco Bell. There was a fucking Brazilian place that I would go to that was up north. It was, oh my god, it was so amazing. I love that fucking place. But this particular night, I went, did the laps, I went home, listened to some music, drank my dinner, fucked around a little bit more, went for another couple laps, did something, and then I had this weird urge to go out for another lap, right? So, went around once, got up to my house, I'm like, you know what, let me just go one more time. I don't know why, just let me just go around one more time. Go around one more time, and as I'm coming around, I see this dude, kind of right across the street from me. They lived in a condo association, so there was some parking on the main street, and this dude sitting there, I see him smoking. And as I'm walking by, I'm not, like I said, I like to try to overcome fears and do things that I wouldn't normally do, and I was like, fuck it. See this dude, I go, yo man, you happen to be coming from somewhere where there's pot? Because I need some pot. And he was all shook up. He thought he was like, what? The fuck are you? So, after a couple of seconds, he kind of calmed down, and we hit it off. And he was smoking a joint. So he shared his joint with me. And then he asked me if I wanted to smoke another joint with him. I was like, fuck yeah, man. I said, if you want to, come over to my house. I live right there, right across the street. So we went over to my house, just chill on the porch. I didn't realize he was like a fucking 20-year-old kid. He was actually 19. And I wasn't going to my goddamn house with a 19-year-old kid. That's weird. I didn't want to give him the wrong impression either. So, we sat on the porch. He rolled me a fucking joint. We got fucking high as fuck, and we were talking. And as we're talking, I noticed that as people are driving by, he's getting like real shook up. He had told me that he was living in, I think he said he lived in Newark before coming down here, so he was just kind of used to unsavory people driving around, cops, that type of thing. So I had to assure him that the neighborhood he was new to the neighborhood. It was actually a really nice place, very quiet, very chilled out. And then there was nothing wrong. And what happened was I actually worked him through a little bit of PTSD. And it really cooled him down. And from that day forward, me and him were like tight as, I don't know, tight as people can be. Like I actually took him on. I looked at him like almost like a little brother or a son. I really loved this guy. He was just a very genuine soul. And he was a very smart kid too. He was very much into his type of spirituality. He believed in God and Christianity to an extent, as much as he could. But he knew that there was a higher power of some sort, and he wasn't very much into the tarot cards. He was very much against the tarot cards, actually. He would not let me read his cards. He thought there was a very bad mojo with that. But he respected that I did it, and I respected that he did not want to have it done. But we hit it off. We were really good friends, and he helped me out a lot. This guy. I definitely of all the people that were in this past life of mine, he is probably one of the top ones that I miss. He's a very good kid. My son loved him too. I really hope, I was hoping that I could get them to be closer, because I knew that my son, he's gonna have a hard time talking to me. You know, that shit's kind of hard, talking to your parents. And this guy, this kid, he kind of went through the same thing. Divorced, his parents were divorced when he was younger, and he didn't really know his father too well, and I had hoped that they would have formed a camaraderie, and they did, to an extent. Unfortunately, shortly after is when everything kind of fell apart, because they did like each other a lot. My son, he fucking loved this guy. It was just like I thought it would have been, but unfortunately things didn't work out exactly how I wanted them to. But that's TK, that's my boy. It's not his real name, that's why I don't mind saying it. The rapper too. The plan was, I was gonna make him into the world's greatest rapper, because I was gonna teach him how to. He and I discussed this. I actually had. See, this is where it's all fucked up, because I actually did an exorcism for a guy who had connections with shit, and I was hoping that building this kid up, building up my friendship with this other guy, that we all could have worked together and created something really special. I really hoped that. I really, really was hoping that that was going to be the case, but unfortunately, things did not work out the way that I had planned. But it was amazing just to see how everything was kind of just falling into place like that. It was, I mean, this guy who I just did a exorcism for, it was literally the week before, because it was right after I finished the pot that he paid me with to do the exorcism, that I bumped into this kid. It was fucking intense, man. And the reason I even got that exorcism job was because of the witch I was hanging out with. And the witch I was hanging out with, the only reason I was hanging out with the witch was because she was the sister of this kid that I grew up with when I was like fucking back in the 90s, when I was like 10 years old. I didn't even realize I knew her. Well, no, I realized I knew her. I never knew she was a witch, but she was older. So, and we never really knew her very much. I mean, I knew her, but he and I had connected on Instagram and social media over the years, and I started posting a card a day on Instagram at one point, and eventually he saw it, and he's like, "Oh shit! Like, I gotta tell my sister about you, because she does that stuff too." It turns out she was a fucking witch. It was an awesome relationship, and it led to all this stuff. Because if I didn't have that pot, I wouldn't have ran out that night, and I wouldn't have met TK. Interesting, right? Alright, next card, Malphus. This was card number 6. I think it's almost done. And just like that, I need my people right now, but they aren't my people. I own no one. They have their own people. I'm going to help them grow beyond their wildest dreams. Like I was saying. I looked at it like this. These people were giving me an emotional fulfillment and a friendship that I hadn't ever had. And so I was willing to do anything for these people. And I did. I did so much. Because, fuck it, why not? My witch friend, we used to fucking hang out all the time. I would just give her boy advice. I love giving her boy advice, because I knew she had a crush on me. I'm fucking hot. My ex, actually, one day, 'cause she came over when the two of us were at the house. 'Cause my ex moved out. I stayed in the condo. She moved down the street, and my witch friend, she was over one day because we were discussing some stuff. We were doing cards, and I went out to smoke some pot. And I turned, my ex is standing right behind me. Whoa, what the hell are you doing here? She's like, "Who's that?" What's that now? I felt really bad, because the woman, she was an older woman. She was very attractive. Drove a Mercedes. I had a fucking Honda. So I think all the neighbors, they saw this sexy older woman driving a Mercedes pull up to my house, and they called her up and told her what the fuck was going on. Well, what was going on? What they thought was going on. People. I'd go back to that first card that we pulled before, Damus. Fucking telephone games and people fucking spreading rumors. The next entry is at 4:12. It's 4:12 p.m. Why do I get drunk? What's funny is, right before the word drunk is the word high scribbled out. So it looks like I was going to ask, why do I get high? But instead scribbled it out and asked why I get drunk instead. I don't. What unresolved problems do I have? My ex-boss? Nope, he's done. I think we are clear as crystal right now. How does it feel to be where you are at this moment? So, like I said, I like to go through my problems. I like to dig into myself and see what's troubling me and try to work it out and figure out multiple angles in which to look at those problems so that they're not problems anymore. Because every problem has a solution hidden within it. And if you can shift your perspective just ever so slightly, you can reap the rewards of the situation that was once holding you back. It's actually pretty fascinating. I look at it like this. You take one of those bad experiences, okay? Let's say this is the experience right here. There's a speck of light, speck of wisdom that's somewhere mixed in the dark. When you can shift your perspective and find that little gem, that nugget of wisdom, it dissolves that problem completely, 100%. Unless there's sometimes there's multiple solutions that you can take out from any particular situations. Very fascinating. I used to call it like learning life lessons, which is exactly what it is. I actually developed a method to do that. I called it, when I was reading one of my books, The Ritual and Doctrine of High Magic, there is a chapter that's devoted to what's called the universal medicine. And universal medicine is almost basically what you would consider the philosopher's stone. And universal medicine is said to be able to cure any wounds, and it's an allegory. It's an allegory for a way of thinking. And what I had done is developed a writing exercise that could literally help you heal any wound. It's very fascinating. It's around here. I'm just not getting into it right now. I'm changing the past in universal medicine. It's right there. Yeah. Can you see it? Universal medicine and in changing the past. Steps 1 through 2. Remember, you are not a victim. How to stop dwelling on things. Those are the methods, and now where did I develop them? I developed them by using them on myself, by how I was writing. So when I say those books, I mean they're books. Yeah, they're fucking journals, they're diaries, but there is a very important science that I uncovered in these books on how to heal the mind in such a way that it worked for me. I mean, listen, I don't know if it'll work for anybody else, but that's the challenge that I've tasked myself with, is to see if I can help other people progress to where I am. Because listen, I was just like everybody else at one point. I had problems, I had concerns, and listen, my life wasn't fucking terrible. I had a great job. I was getting a decent job. I was getting good money. I was getting paid $65,000 a year to fuck around all day. Like, I can't complain. My ex, she was working for her parents. She was making decent. She wasn't making the best money, but she was making enough money. I mean, like, we weren't wanting. We were comfortable, but just comfortable enough. Like, it just. I believe that sometimes we lived a little bit outside of our means, a little too free, which is blowing money away. And plus, I used to have like a big problem with money. I was very frugal. But I looked at it like this. I like to save money. I like to make sure I always had like a set amount of money in my bank just in case something happened. I always looked at it as just in case shit happens, money. In case shit happens. But that's from growing up without having money. It wasn't. Plus, when I started into my career, I wasn't making shit money. So by the time I had started making a decent living, I had already had these like inset, ingrained perspectives on how to control money, and it controlled me. It controlled me. It literally did. Very badly. That's why I live the lifestyle I do now, because it's to teach myself a lesson. Punishment. I deserve. I deserve it. I mean, I'm over it now. I think. I don't know. I have $10 on me, and I'm debating on whether or not I want to buy a pack of cigarettes. I don't think I want to. No, I want to, but it's like every time I have money, I want to buy cigarettes. If that's going to be the point of me having money, then what the fuck? Why? I could go get something to eat. I mean, I have food here, but I kind of want a burrito. So I did pass upon that burrito earlier this week. That burrito that I said that I was going to pass up on. There's a burrito place like right down the street. But I kind of want a pack of cigarettes. I haven't had a fucking pack of cigarettes in fucking a month. I would love to smoke a cigarette. I like smoking. I just like to smoke. It's I'm addicted, I guess. I don't believe in addiction now. That's the thing. Why would I want a cigarette? I don't know. I don't know why I want a cigarette. I just want one. Just to. Oh my god. That high that you get from smoking when you don't have a cigarette for a while. It's fucking. Ooh, baby. I love it. Your legs get all wiggly. It doesn't last very long though. And then after that, then it just tastes like. Plus, it tastes like shit. So there's not really like a really good reason for me to want to smoke. Nothing I can think of. I don't know. Maybe we'll find a good reason before this is over. Alright, so how do you feel at this moment? How do you feel to be where you are at this moment? Fucking radical, for sure. Any regrets? None. This is the dawn of a new life, my friend. One where your wildest dreams can come true just by thinking about them. One where the stars roll. This is going to be so fucking awesome. I was right. The shittiest things have gotten. I've never could have imagined that life could be as awesome as it is. What's that? Did I make a fucking scratch on? Alright, 18 minutes later, 4:30. Issues seem to be fixing themselves almost immediately. I just know that with the right person, this will become an unstoppable force. I know that's where this is all building up to. I actually feel a very powerful energy in my heart chakra. It feels like it's radiating. It's amazing. So what I'm saying right there is, if you've ever had your heart chakra open, the sacred heart, and if you do any kind of energy work like that, it is a very potent feeling. It is a very intense feeling. A lot of lay persons, they like to ignore the chakras and all the energy shit, but that's why they don't understand it. When you do take the time to look into these things and really try to open your mind up, because that's the problem with most people, is that they have a closed mind about things and they don't want to experience what they don't know. And I don't know what that fear is all based off of, not yet at least. But when you do have an experience like that, you know. Oh, and it feels very powerful. It feels very like, almost like, picture a magnet pulling like a nail. That pull, that's what it feels like. And it's right here in your sternum. And it is a radiating energy that kind of just pulses through your chest. And you kind of feel it's going all through your body. It's really fucking amazing. Fascinating. I don't have any kind of interesting technological equipment that you can measure that with, nor have I been in a situation where it could be measured. But again, this is my experience. I know what it felt like because it happens from time to time. People usually bring it on. Do you ever have, when you meet a new love interest, you when you meet somebody, you have that spark. That's what it is. But there's a way to open that up and experience it without another person, and that's where lust comes from. We confuse feelings for other feelings because we're not used to it, and we want it to continue. It almost becomes a drug. And that's where these obsessions with other people come from as well. It's a theory of mine with the relationships, is that we get ourselves into these relationships based on feelings that we don't even understand ourselves. 4:35. So this is only 5 minutes later. I'm like all over the fucking place. Not all over the place, but I had a lot to say over a short period of time. Sometimes I wonder, was there ever a possibility that this couldn't have happened? From the beginning of time, all existence has led to this moment. All time happened because I needed to be here. This new power of experiencing the future in your mind is fucking awesome. And I'm just going to stop right there real quick, because if we remember what I was saying in that previous video, that last one, was exactly this. This was something I just learned how to do. Is that fucking cool? I think it's cool that I just fucking put it in the fucking video, and it's the date of the year that I was kind of really writing about it. I can literally prepare my mind for any situation, or so is the theory. My thought is that if you can experience as much as you can in your head, then you don't have to worry about it sneaking up on you. But I could be wrong. We'll see soon. Formal magic words. So what I'm saying there is kind of what I was saying in that last video. And if you didn't see the last video, I suggest going back and watching it, even though I don't think I got to it till probably like an hour and a half in. But what I'm saying is, experiencing the shit that you're afraid of here, this way you're mentally prepared for it out there. You know what I mean? You're afraid of. Okay, let's say you're afraid of. You're at work. You're afraid of getting fired. Why are you afraid of getting fired? You're afraid of getting fired because you're doing a shitty job, and you know that. So just think in your head of what would happen if you continue doing a shitty job. Imagine your boss coming in there and pulling you into the room, pulling you into his office or her office, and just going, listen, man, what the fuck is going on with you lately? Like, you used to be such a fucking really good employee, but now you're slacking off. Like, you're just fucking loafing. What the fuck is with you? You're preparing yourself on what to say, because you know what? Maybe there is a very good reason for why you're doing what you're doing. Maybe you're not slacking off just because fuck it. Maybe it's just because you really got a lot of shit on your mind. Maybe it's because you don't know what you don't know, and it's just really fucking you up right now. You know what I mean? You ever been in those situations where your personal life is like affecting your work life now because you don't have the time to deal with it because you're just constantly working so much, and you just need a fucking break just to think. Please, let me think. But what I'm saying is, now you, by doing that, you're mentally preparing yourself for that conversation so that you know how to react. It's not going to be like, oh shit, boss just pulled me in the room, I don't know what to say. It's, oh shit, the boss just pulled me in the room, I know exactly what I have to say because I've already thought about it. This is my truth. You know how to speak your truth. You can look at it and look at yourself honestly and go, oh yeah, you know what, I am fucking slacking. Why am I slacking? I'm slacking because I got all this shit going on. I'm just inundated with all this shit. You tell your boss what's going on, they're not going to fuck with you because you're telling them the truth. People get afraid to tell them the truth. Oh my god, I don't know what to do. It's this, that, and the other thing. I don't want to tell people my business. I'm ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Never be ashamed. Never apologize. Don't fucking put yourself beneath another human being. Because you know what, that person that you're telling, your boss, your manager, whoever, they'll respect that you have the courage to actually say the things that you're saying to them. And you know, it's funny that we're having this conversation right now, because it's actually making me, what I was saying about the heart chakra thing, I can actually feel it a little bit, because the words I'm saying to you are painting a picture in my mind about a very specific person and a situation that I really do believe that they're in right now, and it actually, I can see it in me. I can see this conversation that they're having. And it's none of my business to tell you about it, but it's heartwarming. It's heartfelt that's happening, because I know it's happening. It might actually be happening right as we speak. Because when you think of someone, they're thinking of you. And just mind your business. Let's get back to this. Okay. This was actually something I wanted to talk about, and I wasn't going to mention it until I read it, and I'm happy that it's here. At 7:35 p.m. So I went about my business for another couple hours. I am forgetting TK's appearance. After bringing David back home, and I went for a walk, usually where I expect to see her to pop up, there's TK and his friend Brian. So around my neighborhood, there's this person that I was friends with, that I used to take a walk around, and not unfortunately, but where she lived was kind of like right in my path, and I always had this like sneaking feeling that I was gonna be walking one day and she was just gonna fucking pop up and we were gonna have a very uncomfortable conversation, if we even had a conversation. Which is funny because I bumped into her brother once there, and it was almost an uncomfortable conversation. Because he even came up to me, he's like, "You coming from my house?" I was like, "What?" No, I'm actually just taking a walk. And we had a little chat. He was a good kid. I like that kid. I'd known him since he was like a little boy. He turned into a very handsome young man, smart young man too. He's a good kid. At least I think he was a good kid. He always acted like a good kid. I never had any fucking problems with him. But this one particular night, my friend TK, who I had just met, I went for another walk around the block, and as I'm coming around the corner, and I was expecting to see this person pop up, right where I was expecting to see her, there was my friend TK and a friend of his named Brian. And it was like, whoa, shit. Because they were coming around this dark corner. And it was funny. I'll get onto it. So TK. So when we bumped into each other, he's like, "Holy shit, man! I was just literally telling my friend Brian about you, the Magic Man." He used to call me the Magic Man because I am a fucking magician. Like that whole thing with the wizard thing, with the cops and checking on my mental being. I've been saying this. I've been practicing magic for a while, and you never met a fucking magician before. People practice magic all the time. It's just that my magic is real, and those little fucking guys with the card tricks and pulling the rabbits out of the hat, that's make believe magic. I do real magic. The shit I do with the cards, that's real magic. That's real. You can't deny that, because if you read the card reading that I had in the last one, or if you ever had me read your cards in person, it's real. It's 100% real. The fact that I can read people's minds just by looking at them and listening to a little bit and being able to put pieces together on my own, yeah, it's real. Mentalism, I guess you can call it. Mentalism with the sprinkling of spiritual, not even a sprinkling, but a nice healthy dose of spirituality mixed in with it. It's fucking fascinating. It's literally a science that nobody even fucking realizes is there. TK was just telling him about the Magic Man when they turn the corner. That kid is going to be special. I feel something amazing growing in him. He has a very big role to play in the events to come. He's going to learn to speak to people's souls. So, when I was at this point in my time, I like to explain. People would ask me, like even my magical friends, they would say, "Oh, what kind of magic do you practice?" I would say soul magic, because when I talk to people, I'm not really literally talking to you. I'm talking to the person behind the mask. I'm talking to the soul, to the subconscious mind, because I know that I say a lot of stuff, especially when I talk to people. Granted, it's already at an hour, and not everything I say is going to stick, not consciously at least. But a lot of what I say is going to go filter directly to your subconscious mind, which your subconscious mind is then going to start processing and assessing what is real and what is not real, comparing what I've said to what you've experienced, and then start weighing things out. Oh, let me see what makes the most sense. Helping you learn to change your perspective. Teaching you how to change your perspective. And what I was hoping with TK was to teach him how to do the same exact thing. Even though technically I guess he is doing the same thing. But I wanted to use him to talk like me. Because I wanted to brainwash. I want to brainwash the world, essentially. And I wanted to make him into the greatest fucking rapper the world had ever seen, because he speaks to people in a different way that other people do not. That was the hope. He will be a face for the youth, especially Dez. If he comes around. But I don't think that's going to be in the cards for the time being. I've been very hopeful then. Either way, I feel a very strong connection with this kid. He's going to be very significant. I'll teach him how to shift dimensions after. So, shifting dimensions, that's actually a thing. So, if you're familiar with... Hold on, let me just finish that. Once I teach him that, he can go bonkers, but in mine, he will be the face of hip-hop. Okay, so usually what I would tell my friends is that we all live in separate dimensions, we are the multiverse. In that each one of us is the center of our own little galaxy, our own universe. Everything that happens, remember what I always said, you are the reason that everything happens for a reason. You are the center of the galaxy. You are the center of the universe. Every single person shares that responsibility to themselves. My reality is different from your reality, which is different from their reality, which is different from their reality, which is different from every other reality. Perception is reality to those who are perceiving it. If that makes sense to you. So what I meant by shifting dimensions is that the average person, they think in 3 dimensions. Even though I like to think they think in 2 dimensions, because people only see in black and white. Sometimes they have a third perspective in there. So give people the benefit of the doubt. Most people live in a 3-dimensional world, height, width, and depth. They only know what they see. They only see what they know. As you expand on your perception of reality, you gain insights that you normally would not have had. So for instance, 4-dimensional thinking is different from 3-dimensional thinking. 3-dimensional thinking, it's Johnny's going to call me or Johnny's not going to call me. If he calls me, we're going to go out. If he doesn't, then we're not. 4-dimensional thinking would be Johnny's going to call me or Johnny's not. Or I'm going to call Johnny. Or I'm going to go see Johnny. Or he's going to come and see me. Or I'm going to put myself in a position in which I'm going to know where he's at, and I'm going to put myself in a position where he's going to have no choice but to see me. You can think a little bit more outside the box. It allows you to shift perceptions at will. Think in time, not just right this moment. And when I say think in time, I mean to realize that not everything is going to happen right when you want it. To be able to go, okay, well, you know what? In order to get Johnny to call me, I need to do X, Y, and Z. That's what I mean. Does that make more sense? That you realize that he's not just going to call you, that you actually have to put some effort into the act of influencing him, inspiring him to call you. Some people would call that manipulation, but like I said a couple videos prior, there's 2 types of people. You're the manipulator or the manipulated. Now, putting yourself in a position that you know Johnny's going to be at this one place at XYZ time, and you just happen to be there. Maybe you don't even need to know that. Maybe you just go about your business and you just happen to be at the right place at the right time. He just shows up. So what I would tell some of my friends, when we would sit down and we'd discuss, and we'd smoke pot. People love coming to my house, smoking pot, and we'd fucking get deep. We get fucking deep. And what I would tell every single person is, listen, the person that when we meet again, the person that you are is not going to be the same person that I see right now. Because you're going to go off in your own little world, and you're going to do your own thing and have your own experiences, and the next time we meet, you're going to be a completely different person. Does that make sense? I don't think so. Your way of thinking is going to be completely different. Whatever experiences you have, whatever influences you to think the way that you are at that current moment is going to be unique and special and make you into a whole brand new person. What is this? So-and-so has turned into a bigger player than I had expected. Seems I have been tasked with fixing the mess that I left at that place that I was working at, but he will be another player. So, okay, alright. So this guy, that guy, and the other guy where am I getting at? Okay, so I had a lot of ambition at this point. Now, mind you, I have my rapper friend, I have my witch friend, I have my tarot friend. All of us are actually working on 3 separate projects together. Now, I don't know if me and TK actually started talking. We started talking about the rap a little bit. We didn't get too much into it, but I had plans. My tarot friend, we talked about it a little bit. We didn't exactly have plans. My witch friend, we talked about it a little bit. We didn't exactly have plans. I said talk about it. I fill them in on what my plans were, where I wanted to go with my life. Now, I realized that there was aspects, in order to get to where I wanted to go, I needed to know certain things. I don't know much about business or making money or anything like that. So this, that, and the other person, these 3 people who I had mentioned, whose name I didn't talk about, but my ex-boss and where I used to work, I saw that as an opportunity to learn and to also share my ideas with them and see what input they would have and how they could help me get a little bit closer to that. So it was actually like this ideal time in my life where I wanted to do something, and everybody who I would need in order to achieve that kept on falling right into place. My tarot reader friend is getting on my level. She called me to let me know that she needs to see me in person. She's right, I need to see her. But she had something else to say, that she was starting to not want money. It was a feeling. So this friend of mine, and I know what you could be thinking. She called me to let me know that she needed to see me. It wasn't like that. She's not my type. Trust me. Trust me. And I remember this very specifically. We hadn't talked in a little while, and I was trying to give everybody some space. When I talked to her again, she said that she was learning how to use her intuition. Like I was showing her little tricks and tips that I would do, and when I said she was getting on my level, that was kind of it. Like I left her with like a couple different things to do, like these writing exercises. I would tell people to do those all the time, but nobody ever fucking followed up on them. It wasn't my fucking problem. And she had called me one day, or maybe I called her. Oh no, she called me. And she called me just to let me know that she had this very strong intuitive pull that she needed to see me. And it was funny because I had been feeling the same thing. Like I just felt like we had something that we needed to get off of our chests. I don't know what. Nah. I think that's when I started thinking about the business plan. I really wanted to start talking to her about that. And when she said that she didn't want money anymore, I think what that was is that money was not the main goal. And that's a big thing with a lot of my beliefs. Is money's not the main goal. Yeah, it's a goal. It's not the main goal though, because once you would allow money to control you, then it controls you. And maybe that's kind of where I'm a little fucked up with things, and I'm trying to learn how to not do that. Every time I try to get money, try to make money, whatever situation I'm trying to work on, it doesn't work out for me ever. I don't know why. But she had just got that feeling, and I thought this was a really cool thing. I'm like, okay, finally we're on the fucking same page. Because if you can take the money out of the equation and then just do whatever it is you want to do for the passion of doing what you want to do, the money will come. There's a dude on YouTube, Infinite Waters. Love that guy. And he had, a few months prior, I was watching one of his videos, and what he had said was, do what you love. Do what you love, and just do it. Don't make money off it. Just do it. Eventually, it will become your life. And once it's your life, money will just follow. And at that time, I was working my other job. I was working my job still. And I said, I want to be an occultist. Like, this is my life. Like studying the occult and finding out what these secrets really are, what these great mysteries really are. That's what I want to do. And as it turned out, I mean, at my job, I was only doing like maybe 20% of my week was actually doing work. 80% of my week was doing whatever the fuck I wanted, and I spent that 80% studying and reading and researching. And eventually, it just became this, and even when I would go home, studying, researching, and reading, I was in the past year and a half, I have devoted over 10,000 hours into my research, reading, studying, and experimentation. 10,000 hours. That's 10 years of experience in 1 year. I crammed into 1 fucking year. That is why I am exactly the way I am. Because I've been doing it so much, and I push myself so hard that it is me. It's not all I know, but it is what I know. 1 hour, 11 minutes. And that's why I'm the best at what I do. Because no one has devoted this much time in this short period amount of time. There's me. I don't believe it. And if there are, I've never met them. And when I say no one, I mean no one in comparison to all the people that I've met. Maybe there are other people that are more advanced than me in all this shit. I don't know, but I've never met them. So I can't say that they're there. I can't say that they're not. But as far as I know, I am the most advanced person in any esoteric tradition that I know. Or at least in my knowledge base, which is a lot. I know a lot of stuff. I mean, I've had a couple Freemasons who go, "Who the fuck you know all that stuff?" Well, I know more than you, bud. Sorry. That's why I would love to be one of them. I would really, 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 really love to get into the Masons. I'd also love to get into the Rosicrucian order too, because see, the reason is they have specific symbolism, and every tradition teaches the same thing, but they teach it differently. And I just want to know more. I want to know more about. I mean, goddamn, I am highly progressed in these studies, but there's so much more to learn, and I want to see what they have that I don't. So there's that. All right. So back to the book. 812, and I'm just making sure I don't write anything. Okay. Well, I'm trying to wrap this chapter up, the book. All of these horoscopes are pointing into one direction. It appears from the few I've seen that we are winning, about to win bigger. I'm very excited about what's coming. So many pieces falling into place. Horoscopes, I say horoscopes, but really what it was is like energy reports on YouTube, and I watch a lot of tarot readings. But what's fucking crazy is always every tarot reading I read, they're always very pertinent to exactly what I think is going on. And that's the fucking crazy part, is to have these ideas and these thoughts, and then to have somebody tell them on doing a card reading on YouTube. It's fucking crazy. Or even, I like to watch Victor Odo, like some of his stuff, and like I said, Infinite Waters, and always when someone puts out some content, it's always very pertinent to what's going on exactly at that moment in my life, or at least very relative to some experiences that just happened. Victor Odo just put out a video for the full moon the other day, an energy report to it. And I've been holding off on watching it because I wanted to allow what experiences were going to happen to me happen before I go back and watch it, because I like to watch these things after the fact. That way I can go back and go, oh my god, that's exactly what they were talking about. Because you can't disprove something when it happens after. The future proves the past. So I have full expectation that I'm going to go and watch this video, and he's going to explain everything that just fucking happened to me. At least in a relative way that will make sense to me. And this is the final entry into this day. Nothing to write. I'm trying to force this. I'm going to stop soon. Leave the anticipation for whatever is coming. That leads us to the 17th of August, 2018, which is Friday. This is leading up to a very dramatic day. Oh, leads up to my birthday. So maybe we'll pick up on this tomorrow. I don't like to get too far ahead of myself. I can already see my ex's name. Girl talk. Oh my god. I was lady-minded. Obsessed with ladies back then. I guess in a sense I still am. Not necessarily. You deserve someone who loves you because they want to. That wasn't a message for me. That was a message for somebody else. You don't owe me anything. He needs you now. I don't know who I wrote that for. He needs you now. You don't owe me anything. Man, that might have been writing my ex. I don't know. In regards to my son. I don't know. I really don't. Anyway, so that was it. I just felt inclined. I don't know. I read that. I was reading that day, and I just felt inclined to do a video on it. It was pretty fucking interesting. So, I guess we'll get back to it another time. Maybe tomorrow. Or Saturday the 17th. So, I don't know. I think that's it. I think I'm ready to fucking call it a night. Well, at least in regards to this video. So, let all that sink in. I don't know. I hope it all made sense. But, I don't know. If anything else comes up, I get bored. Gator.